The US government has pledged to rebuild Palestine. On the surface, this sounds like a positive step. However, we must look beyond the facade. Rebuilding damaged structures is not enough. It does not address the root cause of the conflict, the Israeli occupation. This commitment to reconstruction rings hollow without addressing the systemic oppression faced by Palestinians. The focus on rebuilding risks normalizing the occupation. It risks whitewashing the injustices inflicted upon Palestinians. We must not be distracted by superficial gestures. The US must go beyond rebuilding. It must address the underlying issues that fuel this conflict. The Israeli government operates with impunity. Their actions, often illegal under international law, go unchallenged. This lack of accountability fuels the cycle of violence. It perpetuates the suffering of the Palestinian people. Accountability is not about punishing Israel, it's about upholding international law. It's about ensuring justice for victims on both sides. The US, with its influence, must demand this accountability. Ignoring Israel's actions sends a dangerous message. It tells the world that might makes right. This undermines the very foundations of international law and order. Without accountability, any rebuilding effort is meaningless. It becomes a band-aid on a gaping wound. Justice for Palestine is not a favor, it's a right. Palestinians deserve the same rights as any people: freedom, self-determination, and a life free from oppression. For too long, Palestinian voices have been silenced. Their rights have been trampled upon. The US must recognize their plight. It must advocate for their fundamental human rights. Justice requires acknowledging the past. It demands recognition of the Nakba, the Palestinian exodus of 1948. This historical injustice cannot be swept under the rug. It must be addressed for true reconciliation to occur. A lasting solution must be rooted in justice. It must ensure the full realization of Palestinian rights. The only path to peace is through the restoration of Palestinian sovereignty. A truly independent Palestinian state alongside Israel is the only viable solution. This requires an end to the occupation. It necessitates dismantling the illegal settlements. It demands a just solution for Palestinian refugees. The US must abandon its biased approach. It must pressure Israel to engage in meaningful negotiations. It must stop enabling policies that perpetuate the occupation. The status quo is unsustainable. It breeds resentment and fuels violence. The time for bold action is now. The future of both Palestinians and Israelis hangs